Welcome to Take 5 for Torah. Today is Thursday, May 8th, and Thursday our topic is some element of this coming week's Torah portion. This week we have two of them, Acharei Mot and Kedoshim, and the beginning of Acharei Mot reminds us of the death of Aaron's two sons, which actually took place quite a bit of time ago. That was earlier back in Parshat Shmini. In between we had Tazria, and then we had Mitzorah, and now we have Acharei Mot, and we're reminded, just as Aaron is about to be told about his annual trek into the Holy of Holies, the holiest day of the year, the holiest person, the holiest place on earth, and Aaron enters the Holy of Holies with his incense, and he's reminded at the very outset, Aaron, be careful. There are times where you can come too close to God. It's not because I want to take you. It's like what God told Aaron's brother who wanted to see God's face. When Moshe said to God, listen, God, I want to understand why you told me to get them all that gold and silver. You knew they would make it into an egel, into a golden calf, and now you want to destroy them for doing so? God, I want to see your face. I want to see how you run things. And God said to Moshe, no man can see me and live. It's similar to what God tells the main character of a book that Chazal tell us Moshe himself wrote, the book of Job, the book of Eov, who suffers significantly throughout his book and suffers through his friends telling him that he must deserve it because he can't be more righteous than God. And Eov asks for his day in court with God, and God finally gives it to him, but tells him nothing about his personal suffering. What God tells him is the great chasm between me and you. For the time being, while we breathe the air in this world, and while we are physical characters in God's earth, there are things that we cannot understand. We have to recognize our limitations, and God wants Aaron to know this the day he enters the Kodesh Kodashim, the day he is instructed, Aaron, remember what happened to your sons when they came too close. Remember what happened to your sons because they couldn't handle the events of the day. So this is why Parshat Acharei Mot begins, Acharei Mot Shnei Bnei Aharon. The first Rashi in the Torah reminds us of what anyone who has ever driven may recall. When you took driver's ed, they always showed you pictures of terrible accidents, of what happens when people get into a car if they're inebriated, or people get into a car and they don't put on their seatbelts, or people get into a car and they're not prepared for the driving, or whatever it may be. They show you that just as you complete your driver's ed course. That's known as Musar B'Po'al. Rashi says it's something like, if a doctor tells you don't eat a certain food, right, or don't sit in a place where it's too cold, right, it's not enough to just give that advice. What a good doctor does is shows what the lungs look like if you smoke for so many years. He shows you what it looks like if you don't listen to this good advice. So God was telling Aaron, listen, Aaron, you're going to get very close to me on these days called Yom Kippur. And you're going to be as close to me as your brother was when he came up to Har Sinai to deliver the Torah. And I just want you to remember what happened to Acharei Mot Shnei Bnei Aharon, what happened just a few parshios ago. But why didn't God say that before in Parshas Tazria and Mitzorah? So those parshiot, we can turn back and notice that those parshiot are about the Kohen specifically atoning and purifying those who are not death defiled, but those who are leprosy defiled. Because leprosy is like death. Leprosy kills the skin. But only a Kohen can revive that skin. Only a Kohen can bring that person back to life. So perhaps Aaron, when confronted with the death of his own children, he devolved into a moment of hope to let me work on purifying those who are defiled with leprosy, and in the hopes maybe that which revives the living person who is really like dead, Mitzorah Chashuv Kemet, that maybe, just maybe, my sons can be revived. But when he realized that was not to be, the Torah just tells him, Acharei Mot Shnei Bnei Aharon, and now you have to get on with the proposition of how to work in this holy place, in this holy day. You, the holiest person, Aaron, pursue life, pursue the support of life, and that's what Aaron does after confronting the death of his own two sons. He is the promulgator of life on this holy day.